research in early childhood development is clear that hearing is important to speech and language development and to learning. From academic difficulties and underperformance in school to social skills, it is a foundation for that child's ultimate success. Nebraska has some amazing health insurance providers, and we feel that they would like to take this opportunity to reconsider and join the other 22 states in providing this coverage and giving these children a great start in life. With that, I'm going to introduce Josh Sevier, who is an audiologist, and several other speakers behind him who are going to give you a really strong foundation on why this bill is important. Josh?
Thanks for coming today. We've come here today to ensure that we're doing everything possible to provide opportunities for Nebraska's children to enjoy successful and fruitful futures. We strive to give these children the best educations possible and take away any barriers that may inhibit their progress. As Americans, we constantly reevaluate policies and find better ways to support the lives of the people around us. It's because of this today that we've come here in support of Senator Blood and her efforts with LB15. The entire purpose of health insurance is to take care of those unexpected things that life continues to throw at us. It gives us the comfort to know that if something in our body isn't performing in a way that it should, then we have the means through our healthcare providers to make it better. The children in Nebraska born with hearing loss should be treated no differently. Parents trying to provide for the futures of their children in every way often struggle with the cost of hearing aids. Without hearing aids, the cost of special education services for these children is more than $400,000 on average per child from birth to the age of 18. This bill would alleviate that burden and cut down on the cost of those special education services and help the children have the same opportunities as every child in Nebraska. This legislation would allow for access of sound that these children desperately need in order to provide spoken language and develop it properly. Their access to that spoken language, which is vital to them obtaining a great education and subsequently a great future and job prospects after school, has a better chance of success with the passage of this legislation. I encourage the members of the Banking, Commerce, and Insurance Committee to support this bill, and it is my sincere hope that if the legislature passes it, then Governor Ricketts will also show his support for Nebraska's children. Thank you.
I'd also like to speak in support of LB15 and Senator Blood. Access to sound through hearing aids is a critical piece of speech and spoken language development for children who are deaf or hard of hearing. Hearing loss is an invisible condition which might only present itself in those speech, language, and academic delays. But we can intervene and get those hearing aids on children early and help them overcome or minimize the negative effects of their hearing loss on their language and their academic development. If children cannot hear adequately, on average, those children achieve 1 to 4 grade levels lower than their peers. I'm here to help bring attention to the need for access to hearing aids for Nebraska's children who are deaf or hard of hearing. We as a state are already doing a really great job identifying hearing loss early in life. However, families end up at a crossroads when they can't follow through on recommendations to meet the goals that they have for their children due to the restrictive nature of high cost of hearing aids. Without this important legislation, we're creating groups of haves and have-nots. With appropriate intervention that might include hearing aids, many children can attend their neighborhood schools with minimal supports. The upfront cost of hearing aids paired with early intervention can lead to cost savings across the lifetime in reduced special education supports, all the way to increased employment opportunities later in life. I urge the members of the Insurance, Banking, and Commerce Committee to support LB15 and recognize the importance of this legislation in helping the children in Nebraska develop to their highest potential. I'd like to introduce Kristen Jolkowski, who is an educational audiologist.
And thank you all for coming. I just wanted to come here in support of Senator Blood and LB15, the Children of Nebraska Hearing Aid Act. Early and consistent access to auditory information is vital in order to develop that speech and language needed to be successful in schools. This bill would allow us as a state to support those families so that they can provide to meet those goals that they have for their children and allow them to be prosperous and successful in their post-secondary endeavors as well. Thank you again for coming to support this, and I hope the senators can continue to move LB15 along so we can see this come to fruition. Let me introduce Jeremy Fitzpatrick, who's chair of the board for the commission, and also a parent of a child who is hard of hearing.
Hello everyone, I'm again Jeremy Fitzpatrick. I'm the chair of the Board of Commissioners for the Nebraska Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. I'm also the parent of a child who wears hearing aids, my son Quinn, who's here with us, who is about to be 7 as a first grader, and Quinn's a complete success story. He got hearing aids very early at 4 months and has worn them since then and is doing great in school. And one of the reasons that he did was that this body passed in 2000 a law requiring early intervention screening for kids in hospitals. So we knew 2 days after Quinn was born that we might have some hearing issues, and we were able to get right after. So the senators who passed that law made a really big difference in this guy's life that will last for the rest of his life. And everybody here is going to have another chance to do that by voting for this law to help all kids get a chance to get access to hearing aids, and that kind of an impact will stay with them now and well into the future. So I really want to appreciate Senator Flood and all the senators who've had the leadership to support this bill, and I know on behalf of many families that I'm equating with across the state that this will make a big difference to them.
Well, as a hearing impaired person, I'm glad to support this bill. I'll be in the committee that will hear this bill this afternoon, and I think it has a promising future. So I'm glad that you're here braving all this cold weather, and I think you can be sure of a successful outcome this afternoon. Thank you.
I want to thank the senators who came today to stand behind me and the others that couldn't come that also co-signed on with this bill. This bill is important. As you heard, in 2000, the legislature made sure that every child was checked for their hearing. We feel this is the second part to that puzzle that should have been done back in 2000. And we also ask again that the insurance companies step up to the plate. We're really talking about pennies when you look at the overall picture of things. We feel confident it is not going to raise their premiums, as our math has shown. So now it's time to ask them to be compassionate, step up to the plate, support this bill today. We don't know what's going to happen in the hearing, but that's our ask. And I'm going to share my story in closing. So some of you know that as a child I was deaf, and I had a surgery called a mastoidectomy, and I took years of speech therapy because of course my language was affected because I could not hear, and it affected me my entire life, and obviously I've been able to overcome my hurdles, but those hurdles were always there, and the little deaf girl inside me is always there. So I just want you to know what a huge impact something like this can have on somebody's life, to go from not being able to hear to being able to hear. The world is an entirely different place. And with that, I thank all who came today. I hope for those that are watching, if you've not called your senator yet, please do so. Onward and upward, and let's get LB15 passed. Thank you.